We are on lesson number 11. Is that right? 10? Oh, I'm in trouble. Brother Wiley did numbers 9 and 10 last couple of weeks and did a really good job. Lesson number 9 was Samuel's noble life. Here lately we've kind of gotten where we're focusing on Saul, right? We've gotten away from Samuel a little bit, focused on Saul. And then 10 was Samuel condemns Saul's sacrifice. What did Saul do again?
He made a sacrifice which he wasn't supposed to make.
He was not. He was supposed to wait for Samuel, right?
Yeah.
But he did not. I don't know about y'all, but Saul's kind of not doing a whole lot of right here lately. He was a king, but did the nation get the king that they wanted or that they thought they wanted? Not really.
In appearance, physically, yes.
Yes. Because what? What did he look like?
He was tall king this time.
He was tall, he was handsome, he came from money, strong, all that kind of stuff. But those are the bad ones anyway. Those aren't the ones you're supposed to be after anyway. So that's where we are this morning. And last week ended with chapter 13. And this week picks up with 1 Samuel chapter 15, verses 17 to 28. I'm not quite sure how I want to approach this morning. I actually think it's going to be a bunch of reading and everyone's opinions on things. Because, once again, you really can't cover what we're going to cover this morning without having the backstory of chapter 14, or at least a quick summary of it. Because it's kind of scandalous this morning with what's going on. So, actually, at first, let's just read chapter 15 and verses 17 through 28. I'll read a few and then I'll ask somebody else to read some. So, Samuel 15, verse 17. So Samuel said, "When you were little in your own eyes, were you not head of the tribes of Israel? And did not the Lord anoint you king over Israel?" What did he mean when you were little in your own eyes? Going way back.
He was just a normal person, no king, and still listened to Daddy and did what he said.
Correct. When Samuel said, "You're going to be king," what did he say? He said all that stuff. I'm the smallest of the small tribes. You sure you want? That's what he's referring to. 18. Now the Lord sent you on a mission and said, "Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them till they are consumed." What utterly destroy and consume? What does that mean?
Lay waste.
Completely.
To just scorched earth, to leave nothing and to have nothing left to even want to take with you, right? So utterly destroy them until they're consumed. Verse 19. Why then did you not obey the voice of the Lord? Why did you swoop down on the spoil and do evil in the sight of the Lord? Someone read verses 20 through 23, please.
And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have come the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took of the spoil, sheep and oxen, and the chief things which should have been utterly destroyed to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal. And Samuel said, Hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offering the sacrifice as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is in the air, is the sin of witchcraft, and the stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king.
Ouch. So, verse 20, Saul said to Samuel, "But I have obeyed the..." It's like the same thing over again. It's like talking to a child, right? You tell them, "Why did you do this?" "I didn't do that."
Because I did that?
But Corbin's favorite thing. Corbin will do something absolutely crazy, and we'll say, "Corbin, get down on his level." And they say, "Why did you do that, Corbin?" He said, "Because I did it." What did Saul? Was that the truth, or was that a complete lie that Saul just told Samuel?
It was a half-truth.
Which is of what?
To make it
A
wrong.
lie.
It's a lie.
Well, he said, when he was trying to justify himself, he admitted he lied. God said, wipe them out, scorch earth, nothing left.
Yes.
Well, we brought this back and they took this, but we did what he said.
And the people did it.
Both of those things, and that gets.
And the people did it.
The people did it.
I'm the king, but the people did it.
That's right.
So then, what are you the king of?
You king of the people, so you got control over them. You're supposed to have rule and authority over
So which one is it?
him.
Yeah, what I'm saying, but are you king and are you responsible for the people because you rule over them and have authority, or you distance yourself from them? So are you king or are you
Not.
not king? So right there, he's trying to be king in position, but at the same time, not be responsible for it. It's kind of like we've seen over and over again.
He's trying to roll the boot downhill.
He is. He's trying to just pass it along to someone else. I have utterly destroyed the Amalekites, but the people did, and that's when he said the people did this, the people did that. What did Samuel tell him in verse 22?
Burn offering is not as good as obedience. Without obedience, there be nothing.
Is that what God wanted? Is that what God asked for? What you did is what you did, what God asked for. That is a sermon. This morning there are people meeting in churches in the name of God saying, well, it doesn't say for me to do this. It doesn't say for me not to do this, but I think God's going to like this. God's going to appreciate a light show in church. God's going to appreciate all this. That's not what's going on here. God said to do this one thing, which was to utterly destroy them. But they had other plans. You don't tell God what to do. God tells you what to do, right? So, would someone read verses 23 through the end, please? Oh, 24 through the end, I'm sorry.
Then Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord and your words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. Now therefore, please pardon my sin and return with me, that I may worship the Lord. But Samuel said to Saul, I will not return with you, for you have rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord has rejected you from being king over Israel. And as Samuel turned around to go away, Saul seized the edge of his robe, and it tore. So Samuel said to him, the Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today, and has given it to a neighbor of yours who is better than you.
Wow. So that's where it just happened, right? It went down officially. So in 24, excuse me, he says, I have sinned. So just like you said earlier, he says, no, I did what I was supposed to. And then once he was caught, was he sorry that he did it? Or was he sorry that he was caught? I mean, he was sorry they did it because he was called out for it.
He's still trying to blame it on the people.
He is. He's still kind of trying. That's the way it seems to me. I mean, it's all in your perspective, but like I told you at the beginning, Saul can't do a whole lot right in my eyes.
Well, my point of view, he was trying to blame it on the people, but once he saw that there was no way out, he asked Samuel to pray for him.
Yes.
And he wanted to get that off, but, too late. He could have been forgiven, but what God had said and planned, which, because he did that, he was going to lose the kingship anyway.
Yes, there's still, our study guide brings out some good stuff in there. There's still consequences for your actions. And the study guide brings it out that this is not to be taken as God doesn't forgive you for certain things, but just not this time on this. It still didn't change the consequences of his actions. The end of 24, I have sinned and I've transgressed the commandment of the Lord because why? Why did he do it?
He was afraid of the people.
Oh. He was scared of the people. Well, then are you a king or aren't you?
Do you get afraid of people?
Yeah. Then what are you leading?
You want to be, but you're afraid to do anything.
That's, to use another expression, the cart leading the horse,
Right.
right? The cart was kind of leading the horse. He's supposed to be leading the people as God leads him, as he follows God. So everything was turned around here. Because I feared the people and obeyed God's voice? Obeyed the people. So he did ask. You're right, Brother Wiley. Please pardon my sin and return with me that I may worship the Lord. Is this the first time or the second time we've heard him say that? No. But Samuel said to Saul, I will not return with you forever. You've rejected the word of the Lord, for the Lord has rejected you from being what? King. Very interesting part in verse 27. What happened there? So Samuel was walking away and leaving Saul, right? And what did Saul do?
Tried to stop him before he closed.
Is that symbolic of anything? So he tried to, maybe whether he was just trying to stop him and begging him not to leave, or he was maybe getting a little bit forceful there. Who knows? But his robe tore. And Samuel said to him, the Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today and has given to a neighbor of yours who is better than you. Now, those are our verses this morning. These verses kind of change as long as or the meaning of them might change a little bit, I should say, if you know the backstory, which everything happened in chapter 14 and the end of chapter 13. Chapter 13, if you have your Bible, verses 16 through about 23, Saul's son's name was what? Who remembers? Jonathan. My first name, I can't stand it. But still. Saul, Jonathan, his son, the people were present with them, remained in Gibeah and Benjamin. The Philistines encamped in Michmash, and the raiders came of the camp of the Philistines in 3 companies. How many Philistines were there compared to how many Israelites there were? Oh, a bunch more. They were like 30,000 or 300. There was a bunch of Philistines. Because what had happened? Israel made the Philistines angry, right? More than a little bit. So they were outnumbered. 19, but there was no blacksmith to be found throughout all the land of Israel, for the Philistines said, let the Hebrews make swords or spears. But all of the Israelites would go down to the Philistines and sharpen each man's plowshare, his mattock, his axe, and his sickle, and the charge of sharpening was a pim for the plowshare, so it cost them a little money. Verse 22, so it came about on the day of battle that there was neither sword nor spear found in the hand of any of the people who were with Saul and Jonathan, but they were found with Saul and Jonathan his son. So who are the only 2 people who had any kind of real weaponry? The king and his son. Everybody else had what? Plow implements of like farm tools. Nobody had any weapons. So they were outnumbered by a whole bunch and they had nothing to fight with. This is going way back. Chapter 14. Jonathan defeats the Philistines. Jonathan is Saul's son. Someone, if you have it, quickly read 14, 1 through 3.
Now it happened one day that Jonathan, the son of Saul, said to the young man who wore his armor, come, let us go over to the Philistines' garrison that is on the other side. But he did not tell his father. And Saul was sitting on the outskirts of Gibeah under a pomegranate tree which is in my road. The people who were with him were about 600 men. Ahijah, the son of Ahijah, Ichabod's brother, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eli, The Lord's priest in Shiloh was wearing an ephod. But the people did not know that Jonathan had gone.
So where was Saul?
He was sitting under a tree.
Where was Saul before when they were picking him to be king? He knew he was going to be king, and they said, "Where is Saul?" And they looked around for him and couldn't find him. He was hiding in. Was he hiding here? But he was sedentary is the point. The king is not out in front of everybody. Verse 4, between the passes by which Jonathan sought to go over the Philistines' garrison, there was a sharp rock on one side, sharp on the other side, and the name of one was Boaz, and the name of the other Sinah. In the front, one faced north opposite of Michmash, and the other southward opposite of Gibeah. Verse 6, then Jonathan said to the young man who bore his armor, "Come, let us go over to the garrison of these uncircumcised." What did it mean to them if other people were uncircumcised? Unclean. So what did they think of them, on top of the fact that they're the enemy and they're here to fight us? They didn't think much of them. To the garrison of the uncircumcised, it may be that the Lord will work for us, for nothing restrains the Lord. What? Somebody read the rest of the end of verse 6.
From saving by many or by few.
Almost seems like Jonathan has more faith than Saul does. So he's going over to the garrison. How many people are in a garrison? A lot. How many of them are there?
Way more.
Yeah, but how many of them are going against them?
Oh,
2.
two.
7. So his armor bearer said to him, "Do all that is in your heart. Go then. Here I am with you according to your heart." This is kind of reminiscent of back before Saul was king. Then Jonathan said, "Very well, let us cross over to these men, and we will show ourselves to them. If they say to us, 'Wait until we come to you,' then we'll stand in our place and not go up to them. But if they say thus," someone read verses 10. What did they say?
But if they say thus, "Come up unto us," then we will go up, for the Lord hath delivered them into our hand, and this shall be a sign unto us.
What does that mean? So if they say, "Come up to us,"
Come on, let's fight. Bring it on.
if they say, "Come over here and fight with us," then we're gonna. 2 verses a garrison. So both of them showed themselves to the garrison of the Philistines, and the Philistines said, "Look, the Hebrews are coming out of the holes where they have hidden." Remember, everybody was hiding. Then the men of the garrison called Jonathan and his armor bearer and said, what?
Come up to us and we will show you a thing.
What do you think that means? We'll show you a
I'll
thing.
show you something.
Yeah, that's what mine actually, New King James actually reads that. "Come up to us and we will show you something." You think they were going to show them their new computer or their new car or something? What are they going to show them?
How to die quickly.
"We will show you how we can slaughter you." It's just 2 of you.
Chapter 13, verse 5, they're talking, it's 30,000 chariots, 6,000 horsemen, and people as the sand which is in the sea.
Yes.
2 against all in.
I remember reading that as the sand. So they covered the countryside. Yes, a lot of them. Jonathan said to his armor bearer, "Come up after me, for the Lord has delivered them into the hand of Israel." And Jonathan climbed on his hands and knees with his armor bearer after him, and they fell before Jonathan. As he came after him, his armor bearer killed them. That first slaughter which Jonathan and his armor bearer made was about 20 men within about half an acre of land. Half an acre of land is about how big my yard is that I mow, I think. And it takes me like 3 or 4 hours, depending on how hot it is. But he was fighting all around this land, and all of these against them. And they slaughtered him. Someone read verses 15 through 18.
And there was trembling in the host in the field and among all the people. The garrison and the spoilers, they also trembled. And the earth quaked, so it was a very great trembling. And the watchmen of Saul in Gibeah of Benjamin looked, and behold, the multitude melted away, and they went on beating down one another. Then said Saul unto the people that were with him, "Number now and see who is gone from us." And when they had numbered, behold, Jonathan and his armor bearer were not there. And
Saul didn't even know his own son was gone, right? 19, now it happened while Saul talked to the priest that the noise which was in the camp of the Philistines continued to increase. So Saul said to the priest, withdraw your hand. Then Saul and the people who were with him assembled, and they went to the battle. And indeed every man's sword was against his neighbor, and there was very great confusion. Moreover, the Hebrews who were with the Philistines before that time, who went up with them into the camp from the surrounding country, they also joined who?
Israelite.
So everybody's leaving the Philistines. They have people defecting and going over to the Israelites. They're seeing how this battle is going. And this all started with 2 people. They also joined the Israelites who were with Saul and Jonathan. Likewise, all the men of Israel who had hidden in the mountains of Ephraim, when they had heard the Philistines fled, they also followed after them in battle. So the Lord saved Israel that day, and the battle shifted to Beth-aven.
You know, something that was hiding until they saw that what was happening.
They got their nerve up, I guess. Yes. So this all started, but Samuel's king of all this, right? Even though, did he lead the charge? Did he lead the battle? Did he? His son did. Now, we're not going to read all of the next parts, but 24 through the next little bit, Saul made an oath, and he said nobody should eat. Nobody eats. And if you eat, what's going to happen if you break a commandment of the king? What happens normally if you do something the king tells you not to? He puts you to death. So Saul said, nobody gets to eat this day. Jonathan had already led all this battle and everything, and they won. But Jonathan did not hear what the king said, and Jonathan ate. So Jonathan should have died, right? Which is his own son. Let me pick up somewhere in 41. Therefore Saul said to the Lord God of Israel, give a perfect lot. So Saul and Jonathan were taken, but the people escaped. And Saul said, cast lots between my son Jonathan and me. So Jonathan was taken. And Saul said to Jonathan, tell me what you have done. And Jonathan told him, I only tasted a little honey with the end of the rod that was in my hand, so now I must die. Saul answered, God do so and more also. This is his own son, right? God do so and more also, for you shall surely die, Jonathan. But the people said to Saul, what? Somebody read verse 45.
Shall Jonathan die who has accomplished this great deliverance in Israel? Certainly not. As the Lord lives, not one hair of his head shall fall to the ground, for he has worked with God this day. So the people rescued Jonathan, and he did not die.
Who's the king?
Saul. In name only at this point.
Almost. That's why we've gone all the way back to this to read this over our book verses of chapter 15. Because Saul said he was afraid of the people, remember? Verse 46, then Saul returned from pursuing the Philistines, and the Philistines went to their own place. Verses 47, Saul, and through the beginning of 15. So Saul established his sovereignty over Israel and fought against enemies on every side, against Moab, against the people of Ammon, against Edom, and against the kings of Zobah, and against the Philistines. Wherever he turned, he harassed them. What do we remember about Samuel saying that the people would get if they asked for a king? What kind of king, what kind of person did they get? Or did he tell them that they were going to get? What did he say was going to happen to your sons and your daughters?
He's going to take over their sons, daughters, their work, making the soldiers, like the farmers feed this army.
Yes. Saul, it's almost like Saul kind of got bloodthirsty. They just went everywhere attacking everyone else.
you know, after that, he had battle against the Philistines and stuff, he got big-headed.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did.
Sometimes people get big-headed. You know?
Yes, he did. Like, look what we did with the two of us with weapons and everybody else had implements. Look what we just did. Wherever he turned, he harassed them. So, like you said, he thought he could do no wrong, right? He's just going to go everywhere and attack everyone. And he gathered an army and attacked the Amalekites and delivered Israel from the hands of those who plundered them. In 49 through 51, it gives his lineage, children. And verse 52, now there was a fierce war with the Philistines all the days of Saul. And when Saul saw any strong man or any valiant man, he took him for himself. Just like we said earlier. He's going to take your strongest men, he's going to take your sons, your daughters, and he's going to use them for his war machine, pretty much. Now, chapter 15, up to 17. Would somebody read chapter 15, verses 1 through 9, please?
Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to be king over his people, and over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the word of the Lord. Thus said the Lord of hosts. I remember that
Amalek.
Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now over its life, and destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay those lambs and winners and Ephraim and suckle ox and sheep, camels, and pigs.
Okay, hold on. That's good, actually. So, that goes way back to, I think, around Deuteronomy, where Amalek went in, and while the people were fleeing Egypt, he went in and attacked them and was killing them in the back ranks. So God remembered this and said it's time for Amalek to pay, and that nation to pay for what they've done. That's when the decree comes where it's time to take care of Amalek. But Saul changed it. And Saul attacked Amalek. Thank you. From Havilah all the way down to Shur, which is east of Egypt. So he also took Agag, the king of the Amalek, alive, and utterly destroyed the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, the oxen, the fatlings, the lambs, and all that was good, and were unwilling to utterly destroy them. But everything despised and worthless they utterly destroyed. So God said to tear up everything, destroy everything. They were to go and destroy everything and keep what for themselves? Nothing. Nothing. But what did they do? They tore up what they didn't want and took what?
The best.
Which is exactly what they had been doing after that first battle, and then from then on, everybody they attacked, that was their custom. They would go places and take the people's stuff. So we've been doing this all this time, and it's been working for us. Samuel tells them, God is telling you to do this. And they're like, but we've been doing it our way all this time, and it's been okay. We're going to keep on doing it our way. That's what happened. As we said about Saul, was he king or wasn't he? Had he been...
Kind of.
He was kind of king. And kind of king is not king at all. So had he really been king, he would have told them, this is what we're going to do. But what did he do that? He let the people do what they wanted to, kind of. Why? According to his own words, what?
Feared the people, he said.
He feared the people. 10 to 16 real quick. Now the word of the Lord came to Samuel saying, I greatly regret that I set up Saul as king, for he has turned back from following me and has not performed my commandments. And it grieved Saul, and he cried out to the Lord all night. So when Samuel rose early in the morning to meet Saul, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul went to Carmel, and indeed he set up a monument for himself. Look what I'm doing. Look at all the countries I topple. Look at how much we can do. He's not looking to God. Yes, sir.
I think one thing there is nothing wrong with saying, look what I did. But what he should have said was, look what God helped me do.
Yes. Look what we did through God, with God.
What God did to us.
Yeah, that way. 13, then Samuel went to Saul, and Saul said to him, Blessed are you of the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord. I've done everything you said. Is he lying? He's lying. 14, but Samuel said, What then is this bleating of the sheep in my ears and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? It's like he's talking to a child. Then how come I hear sheep and oxen? What?
I didn't do nothing to my sister.
She's over there.
My sister cried.
She's crying and blood's rolling down your head. I didn't do anything to her.
How many times have you one that you say, where did that car come from?
I don't know.
You and the crowd, I only do it road.
Yeah. I guess the sheep and oxen and all that, they just came and showed up and wrangled themselves and all that.
That's their allegiance.
Yeah, they just came over. Have mercy. Tallest man in the land might be feeling about, this tall by now. 15, and Saul said, What happened to we? What happened to I and the people? What? No. They have brought them from somebody say it for me, Amalekites. For the people spared the best of the sheep and the oxen to sacrifice to the Lord your God. Why do you say your God? Not our God. Found that curious too. And the rest we have utterly destroyed. Then Samuel said to Saul, what? Verse 16, what did he say?
Stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord has said to me this night. And he said to him, Say on.
King James says say. New King James says be quiet. Samuel told the king to shut up. Now, if we go to verse 29, because we read 17 through 28. If we go to 29 and pick up there. Let's back up to 28 a little bit. So Samuel said to him, The Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today and has given it to a neighbor of yours who is better than you. Now 29. And also the strength of Israel will not lie nor relent, for he is not a man that he could relent. Verse 30. Then he said, I have sinned, yet honor me now, please. So Saul is still begging, right? Please, before the elders of my people and before Israel, and return with me that I may worship the Lord your God. 31. So Samuel turned back after Saul, and Saul worshipped the Lord. Would someone read 32, verse 32?
Then said Samuel the king, Bring ye hither to me Agag the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately. And Agag said, Surely the bitterness of death is past.
Thank you. So he came, yours says delicately, mine says he came cautiously. So he was once the king, so now he's disposed. And Agag said, what? Surely the bitterness of death is past. What was he doing?
Trying to stay alive.
Yes, he was. He was either begging for his life or saying, surely you're not going to kill me now. Ask Brother Travis, and it's all kind of speculation, why did he keep Agag alive? Even though God told him to kill everyone, right? and destroy everything. I'm sitting here thinking that he may have done it just to say, see, I took this king as prisoner. Look how strong we are. Look how he might have used him for ransom. Who knows? And Travis told me about Agag. Said Agag was not a nice man. He killed lots and lots of people. Will someone read verse 33, please?
And Samuel said, as thy sword has made women childless, so shall thy mother be childless among women. And Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal.
That'll make you run cold, huh?
Choice of words there, hewed.
Yeah. I mean, that part's bad enough, but I mean, what he told him before he killed him was... And Samuel, yeah, so yours says hewed, mine says hacked. Samuel hacked Agag into pieces.
Makes you think it's not a simple beheading.
Yeah.
You just said they went to whacking him.
So why... Is Saul mad now?
I think so, yeah.
I think Saul's mad now. Then Samuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to his house at Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel went no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul, and the Lord regretted that he made Saul king over Israel.